When you look at the Philippines and the state of their commercial music industry, you can't help but be fascinated by what it's gone through over the course of history. Filipino music has always evolved and adapted to rapidly changing trends, whether that's perfectly reflecting a historical time period, celebrating rich cultural influences, remarking times of rebellion, or whatever the hell Budots is supposed to represent. I love how, at its core, it's always been an emotional genre. You can say it's too algorithmic now and heavily influenced by the soulless slop that is a good 90% of Western pop, but I urge you to look further and realize that mainstream OPM is going through another boom period. Sometimes I can see that my generation of OPM artists often manage to stray away from what made the genre special in the first place. But more often than not, they get it. When songs stay true to the unfiltered, poetic, and intimate roots of OPM, the genre becomes undeniable. So I can't help but put a smile on my face when I see that the most streamed OPM song of all time was a song released only 2 years ago from my generation. Cause dare I say, there are very few deserving songs that show the excellence of modern OPM and encapsulate this generation of Filipinos better than Multo by Cup of Joe. Memories of this song playing at local events in my area have always lingered in my mind. I have never seen so many people audibly groan at the same time once they heard the first few seconds of this song. The OPM scene is loaded with ballads that convey deep feelings of melancholy, pain, and longing. It's apparent how modern-day adolescents, not only in the Philippines, but globally, have expressed themselves loudly enough to show that they've become captivated by their own sadness. The most classic songs in OPM tend to be the most melancholic. The heartbreak anthems of generations past tend to turn their sorrow into a thunderous spectacle fit for your titos and titas next karaoke session, filled to the brim with loud, heart-aching emotion. Multo, however, is tailor-made for a heartbreak that's quieter, mundane, and more rooted in despair. Its dream pop sound is a common sonic atmosphere that denotes feelings of nostalgic relapse. The contrasting voices of Rafael Ridao and Gian Bernardino have subtle hints of reverb. The 1975-esque synthesizers are supported by gentle drums and echoing guitars. The distant space felt in the production and the major key progression, commonly associated with sadness, perfectly encapsulates feelings of cold detachment, one that really lingers inside you. Multo in Filipino translates to ghost in English. It's a metaphor usually interpreted as a memory of broken romance or a what-if opportunity that can't come to fruition. Regret of opportunity. Something that we call hinayang or sayang in the Philippines. Not taking a chance on an opportunity and as it passes by, expressing deep remorse for what could have been. It's not a ghost you encounter eye to eye and can flee away from. It's a ghost of your past regrets that you can't escape. This is all too common in romance, and it's more prevalent than ever among this generation of young Filipinos.
Di na ba naman na kinsukat, ngunit ba't ba andi ito pa rin?
How many cases can you remember of people affected by the avoidant and breadcrumbing nature of Gen Z and millennial relationships? It's more damning to realize how this type of love culture is often romanticized as trendy humor. And now this pain is high-key being used as currency for chica culture. I mean, seriously, how many times have you heard things like, "Grabe, di ko pwede mag-move on? Nagre-relapse na naman. Minumulto ka na ba? What if? What if?" So in that sense, Cup of Joe's lyrics turn into more than a sad story. It becomes a testament to generational grief.
Hindi na makalaya, di natalo mo kung bawat gabi.
Rafael and Redento Ridao did a phenomenal job with their songwriting here. Poetic and dramatic, standard for any good OPM ballad. But instead of writing the typical tearjerker, they managed to capture the quiet, lingering numbness that comes with the cyclical feeling of regret. Notice the exhaustion in the vocals, the prolonged melodies, and the weight of what they're actually saying. In a way, it feels rather muted. Even the dramatic belting of the second ng damdamin ko doesn't release itself into a heavy breakdown. It almost feels like a 3 a.m. emotional turmoil. You're in a liminal state, it's dark, you can't see anything, you can't sleep, all you can feel is the touch of your biggest regrets, and you're continuously being eaten alive.
Ako ay dahan-dahang nililibing ng buhay pa.
There is no closure. These are feelings that have passed by, impossible for your mind to forget, as you can't help but wonder, what if things went differently? This type of imagery and vibe in OPM has been done before, but I think it's rarely been executed to this degree. That's why the masses are so attached to it. Multo has broken records and is connected with millions of people in the Philippines, thanks to its unforgiving and authentic emotion. And you know, I can't help but feel a sense of familiarity when I look at how this song is celebrated. The way this song connects to its generation helps me remember the vivid portrait painted from what might be the greatest heartbreak anthem ever written. It's difficult to picture the late 1990s as anything other than loud. Anyone who was breathing air at that time felt more than compelled to express themselves to the maximum degree. It was a time of controversy, growth, excitement, attitude, and excessive ambition, even as this generation became oversaturated with consumerism, fast-paced globalization, and growing detachment. Yet, this is exactly what made it so magical.
Better, happier, more.
So and so was the rise of Radiohead. You can point to their distinctive sound and poignant lyrics, which played an influential role in shaping the tumultuous landscape that was the late 1990s. Case in point, OK Computer, what many consider their magnum opus. A remarkable collection of songs so uneasy and daring that aimed to set the stage for a dreadful 21st century. Songs like No Surprises, Paranoid Android, Exit Music for a Film, and Karma Police have stayed relevant to this day thanks to their emotional vulnerability. Although they were more popular songs, they still might not hold a candle to the greatness of Letdown. Now here's the thing. When I say that Multo is the Philippines' Letdown, I'm not saying they're entirely similar. Cup of Joe is not the Philippines' Radiohead. One song is more dream pop, the other leans towards art rock. One took a year to grow viral while the other took 28. Look, what I'm actually getting at is this. When you look with hindsight, Multo and Letdown are both hailed as legendary heartbreak anthems of their respective eras. That's because what both songs do so well is portraying a picture of inescapable generational grief. Just like Multo, Letdown hit the scene during a similar period of cultural exhaustion. Britain, the home of Radiohead, had a lot to take in the late 90s. Britain sold tremendous excitement for the future with the cool Britannia movement. Cultural optimism was off the charts after years of economic hardship, creating a wave of modern fashion, celebrity culture, and art that was flashy, playful, bold, rebellious, and in your face. Around 1997, however, this accessible empowerment started to feel less organic. As a result, emotional instability became the new norm. Irony hiding sadness, existential nihilism, and manufactured trends. The youth would grow disconnected, burnt out, cynical, and swallowed by modernity. Radiohead decided to rip this band-aid off by revealing the new reality of the late-stage Cool Britannia. That a culture change meant to lift up a generation became the ultimate letdown. The song feels like a lost dream, the same way Multo was. Its major key progression, intricate guitars, restrained drums, and arpeggios all blend seamlessly to sound super sentimental.
Stop feelings, except for
Tom York's voice beautifully captures the fatigue of a bleak future, one that unfolds in the harsh climate that was the late stages of cool Britannia. One that appears to lack direction, starting and then stopping. You feel disconnected from the monotony of everyday life. While society may advance and progress, emotionally, you actually find yourself feeling more and more shallow. As modern technologies begin to engulf and isolate people, Tom observes a humanity that has become mere shadows of their former selves. Just like the current state of Filipino adolescence, it has grown tired of the world feeling so intoxicating, crushed like a bug in the ground. It's still alive, yet deprived of any hope for its body to operate as it should, forced to witness a gradual and agonizing demise. Why even bother? This fragile acceptance of defeat, akin to the lingering ghost seen in Multo, has trapped the narrator in a relentless cycle, one of immense destruction that holds no promise for the future. Tom York raising the white flag before falling for blind optimism is seen throughout each musical element of this song. The instrumental urgently tries to ascend to great heights, but at a certain point, it cannot break free from its internal sorrow. It feels like it tries to feed you the idea that you're about to reach something beautiful, though you can't help but notice that you're not really going anywhere. As the song progresses, you feel the struggle reaching a boiling point. This is all the makings of a catastrophic failure, though before it can be cemented as such, there would have to be one last gasp. We saw this in Multo, and what's sad is that Cup of Joe's vocal peaks as attempts to overcome their haunting feelings did no good for them. They were just too exhausted to escape the unrelenting ghosts of their pasts. Let Down takes this idea and makes it unforgettable. It's like a runner trying to climb a steep hill, falling time and time again, and as it gathers every ounce of strength for one final leap, it ends in massive collapse. Even at its grandest peaks, Tom York's voice grows precarious at his letdowns. The instrumentation turns unstable, trying to catch a rhythm, trying to just find one more breath to prepare itself for the head start. One last Hail Mary run towards the steep hill. I look at this climax as that very last burst of energy. You run as fast as you can. You're closer than ever before, but before you know it, you start to lose your footing, the ground crumbles beneath you, you start to crash down. All from trying to convince yourself this destiny exists. Disillusioned by one last bit of optimism, you dwindle, grieve, and come to terms with what you always understood. Despite all this exhaustion, you never really got away from your ghosts. The ghosts of your grief, your regret, your unfulfilled vows, your unavoidable disappointment. You are forever haunted. And when you finally hit the bottom of this brutal collapse, you'll know where you are.